I wanted to ask you about what feels like some confusion people are having about a message that you gave, to take a risk and to move in their truth.
Yes.
For example, a young girl came today and she said that you had spoken 2 weeks ago about people in a job. Why would they do a job that they don't resonate with? Just drop it. Move as you feel is true in your heart.
Mm.
And so she quit her job and wouldn't like now to spend time here, thinking that this was a bit of the message or the possibility. I'll give you another example. A man who, he actually came before you and came naked and said that this was the message that he had heard from you. He said, Mooji said, I want to meet someone willing to take a chance in front of everyone, because if they are, you take your chance, maybe they'll take their chance, is what he said. And he felt that you said to just turn up and surrender. And literally he thought you meant to turn up and surrender at your feet. And he closed his bank accounts and got rid of his home and just showed up. And so it feels like
okay. Well, that is a misunderstanding, and I say sometimes also, it seems to me that before understanding really takes place, often we have to get misunderstandings out of the way, because it is true that sometimes I say to people, take a risk, because very often I'm meeting people who are so hesitant in their life, so pulling back and almost apologetic. So sometimes in the context of that, I may say, you need to step out away from this apologizing for your existence kind of thing, or that you are deeply unhappy in a situation, whether it is work or something, and it seems to me that something wants to move on from this. And I encourage, don't be suffocated, don't die, in a space that is not in satisfaction with your heart. That is quite a different thing from saying, leave your life, come and live with me. I don't want people to come and live with me. They have to take care of themselves. That's a gross misunderstanding. And it's only an indication that people are misunderstanding and sometimes misrepresenting what I'm actually saying. If I want to say, you come and spend time with me, I say, you come and spend time with me. I'm not saying to people, drop your job, come and spend time with me. I would not say this. For what reason? But if they ask me, I have got to be blunt and honest. And I'm not going to, I don't have something that I have to be careful in. I think my message is clear enough. There is a tendency sometimes in people in twisting things to hear what they want to hear. And if you are saying that, or if they're saying that, I told him take a risk, but that risk means that he drops everything, come and be with me. Now that's not that is a super risk. I didn't ask for you to come and if the person want to ask, can I give up my job and come and spend time with you, I will tell them straightforwardly, for the most part, I say, no, this is not what I'm speaking. But I'm not advertising for people to come and take refuge physically with me. We don't have the space for that, like that. So I think it is somehow a kind of maturity as well too, in really hearing clearly what is being said. And I'm not misleading anyone at all. But if you come and you say that I'm suffering in this situation, could be a relationship or something, and it's like this, and it seems abusive, and I'm not happy, and so on, then I may bluntly say, but why are you in it? Now, how you jump from that to say, oh, I give up, leave my home, come to live with you? I said, no, you're crazy. What is that? You don't move like this. So I don't feel like there's anything to be, now I have the chance, by you presenting it like that, to say very clearly, I'm not advocating that anyone just step out of their life willy-nilly and then just come and show up here with 2 suitcases like I'm taking people in this kind of way. We're not a refuge in this type of way. My number one and main pointing, and I don't have many, is always to come back to the place of your own self, to come back to the place where you are most true, not where your mind is creating all kinds of excuses or projections. We are not encouraging any projections, no fantasy. I have not presented any form of fantasy to anyone about these things. But you have to take some responsibility in your own life. And this is why very often I say, please don't just bring me domestic questions like that. I'm only concerned about freedom. And I'm not advertising for people to come and live with me. It's enough difficult with the people who are themselves working alongside sometimes. And we have to live and work together. We're not just putting out an open arm. Anyone who feels that they need to make a change in their life should just drop it and come and stay here. That's a very naive interpretation of what I'm speaking. You see? Primarily I say that, stop giving so much attention. I prefer that people don't just bring me these little questions which are called domestic or personal questions, and stay with the main point, the main artery of what I'm speaking is how can I come out of the confusion of being this particular person with all of these strange and idiosyncratic ways. And I'll point you, look, these are only your delusions, and look from the real place, the non-personal place, that will somehow bring you home in the real sense, like that.
Sometimes you tell the story about how you just walked out of your life, and I think many people hear it with the right ears, but this is also maybe where some people take this as a pointing of something to do.
Well, in their own way, it may be something for them to do. I'm not advocating that. I just told you quite bluntly, and I'm not afraid to say what is truthful in my own life. That when this conviction, the impact of that experience, I saw that my life in very clear terms. I had nothing really to offer. I mean, it's not something was so powerful for me. When I say I walked out of my life, I walked out of myself, actually. The whole idea that was built up around who I am, personality, and so on. When I say I walked out of that, it's like something just dropped all of this. Just dropped it. But I am hoping that I'm speaking to people with a certain amount of intelligence. That I'm not saying, okay, listen, everybody, drop your things and come follow me. I mean, I'm not the Pied Piper. I just say clearly like this. If you have that trust, that strength, that character within your heart, that you know that somehow this is a very powerful chance that is awakened inside you, then act upon it. But that's quite different to just go and give up your jobs and then just go and show up at somebody's house and say, look, I'm here, I've come. Now I've given up everything, I'm your responsibility. No, thank you, I don't want this type of... That person will be just a pure trouble. If you're going to do that, stand on your own feet. I stood on my own feet. I didn't just go and show up at the nearest person and look, I've given up everything. I've had this kind of encounter a few times where people have said also, listen, I don't want to have anything to do with money. I don't deal with money anymore. But I just go around and stay at people's houses and stuff like this, and their friends, and I just move around like this. And I started to say to one woman, but you are a burden to them. Why should you give up? I don't have anything to do with money, but they have to spend their money on you. Then what kind of... That's not a very enlightened expression at all. This is just being a burden for other people. You see? So they were itching sometimes as an excuse to do something, and they want to use me as an excuse for that. What I say is you should give up. Some people genuinely feel, okay, I don't enjoy my job, and I wanted to find the courage to give that up. But I cannot be taking responsibility for that decision like that. You must know what you are ready for in your own mind. You see, if she or he has an intention, I want to give up my job and come and live with Mooji, you have to come and ask me about that. You don't make a decision and then come to my house or something. I remember some time ago in Italy, it happened like that also. That having spent one retreat in Italy, I came back to London, and then 1 week later, this group of people suddenly showed up in London, at my house. I said, what are you doing here? Oh, we came to live with you. I said, what? I live in a small council place. I've got 1 bedroom. What are you going to do here? Oh, we thought that you were in an ashram. I said, this is just disgustingly rude. How you can just do this? You don't ask any questions. Don't ask me, can I come and see you or nothing. They just decided we're just going to do that. Well, that's a naivety. How could I encourage something like that? if I invite someone and I give you specifics, you can come spend a week or 2 weeks with me, then somehow it would be enough. 7-10 days is plenty enough for what I have to offer you at this point. But I don't meet you, don't know anything about you, just show up like this. I'm here. I've got nothing. So, what is that? You know, I know many people who have walked out of their lives. I met one young man in India. I had met him about 3 years ago in Tiruvannamalai. And as a result of some satsangs that he experiences in satsang, he simply walked out of everything, left his family, started walking around in a place like this. I didn't see him. We contacted me on the phone one time in India. And then after this, I lost contact with him. Then 1 year passed, another year passed. Now we're in Rishikesh. He shows up. And actually looks like a young Ramana, actually. Mm-hmm. Like one of the young pictures of Ramana Maharshi. Mm. And he says, yes, I've been living like this for the last few years. I left home and I've just been living like this. I don't want any money. I don't want anything at all. It's just been moving like that. Something seems to be taking care of him. And then I asked, what about your family? He said, no, I left everything and, I did it a couple of times before. But now, sometimes for a long time, I didn't contact my family. I said, no, this is not right. It really is not right. You should call home, let your mother know that you're at least fine. Say, I don't want to be found right now, Mom. I just want you to know that I'm fine for now. That at least is something. And I felt very, very upset that you didn't do this. And I didn't tell you to leave home, and I don't tell anybody to do that. That's a decision or something that has to come from inside you. And I know that came from inside him. But I said, please, you contact your parents, your family, and just say to them, well, this is how it is. I've not been able to stop myself from doing this, but I've been encouraged to contact you, or I want to contact you, let you know that I'm safe, and at some point I'll send you another mail or something like this. And he did it. And he wrote a letter, and he copied me on this letter. And I read it, and I was very touched. He came back. And when he wrote this letter, he completely broke down. He was there, you know this guy, this man? He completely broke down. He cried, because what? He really loved his mother, but found that he was doing this action to take and not to calling. I said, but this is very, very it's a selfish thing. You need to contact your family and let them know that you're fine. Do you know what it feels like? Somebody just disappeared, that you're your own child and you don't do, and you know where you are, but they don't know where you are. It's a very selfish thing. Then he contacted them, and I felt very relieved inside my heart. I don't want to be careful what I say. I just speak from my heart what I speak. But people have to be a certain mature enough to live their life. Some people leave home and so on for a while. And then after, even Srina Sagadatta Maharaj also, on listening to his own Guruji, went off almost barefoot up into the Himalayas walking around because he felt this is what I had to do. And then he happened to come in contact with one of his Guru Bhai, one of the same devotees to the same master, encountered him in the Himalayas and said, what are you doing around here? And he explained that he was new life he's living. And this man said to him, but you know what you're doing here, you can do it at home also. Mm-hmm. There's no special thing about Himalayas, you can do it also home also. That's not what Guruji meant. And then somehow he heard this and went straight home, back to his family, set up his little business and stuff, and continue living as it is. So it is very easy in these matters to misunderstand and start to think, wow, he's recommending this life to me. And he told me many times, people say, yes, I heard you when you say this, and it's almost like, oh, the master. Also with my master, I hear them say, oh, he told me to do this. I said, really? Okay. I don't think it's like that. He just speaks the truth, and then what happens from you comes from you.